Nissa, Vastwood Seer versus Saskia, the Unyielding, and we have gone to keep this hand because, as I've said in a few videos, I think I tend to get punished more often than not for throwing back a hand that actually has some lands in it, even though the hand that we have isn't particularly great. It's better than having no lands at all. Nissa, Vastwood Seer is a 2/2 Elf Scout for 3 mana. When she enters, we can search for a basic forest and put it into our hand. Then whenever we have 7 or more lands, she flips over into a Planeswalker that can draw us cards and throws out a 4/4 green elemental creature token. And then with her limit break, she can untap up to 6 target lands and have them become 6/6 elemental creature tokens. And our opponents got off to a superb start against us. Stoneforge Mystic into Skull Clamp. And I assume they searched for the Skull... Nope, they searched for the Jitte, so they've got an even better start than I realised they had. Yeah, this will be interesting. We don't have any ramp, unfortunately. They have used a lot of the cards that are in their hand, though. So we'll have to see what goes on here. I imagine that they'll play the Jitte now. We'll just quickly go over our opponent's commander. That is a 3/4 for 4 mana. It has Vigilance and Haste. And Saskia chooses a player when she enters. And then whenever a creature that our opponent controls deals combat damage to us, Saskia deals that much damage, or the creature deals that much damage to us. So it's kind of like a weird double strike type thing. I think we'll go for the creature that destroys all artifacts and enchantments with the Fierce Empath. I forget the name of it. And we should be able to ramp with Harrow next turn. We'll get an extra land down from that. And, oh, I shouldn't have actually searched for that forest because I'm about to discard it. Well, it thins out the library very, very, very slightly. Yeah, so I think Harrow next turn. That'll be 3 lands. We'll sack one of the tap ones. Play a land. So we'll have 3 untapped mana then. We can go for Fierce Empath. And try and get rid of these tokens. Yeah, I don't want them to draw off that. We can just take 2 and whatever they decide to do with the Jitte. The good thing about this deck is we don't actually care about keeping Nissa on the field because she kind of pays for her own command attacks, or half of it anyway. When she comes in, we get a land. And yeah, forcing them to use a Chainer's Edict is fine. I'd rather they did that than use the Jitte. So if we go Harrow, well, we'll tap the lands first, and then we'll Harrow, and this will get us 2 more forests, and they come into play untapped. Typically want to use Harrow at the end of our opponent's turn, but with the speed they're getting things down at, I think I'd rather deal with what they've got going on in Skull Clamp and the Jitte. They only have 2 cards left in hand, so I think they're pretty reliant on that Skull Clamp. What is the card I was looking for? Bane of Progress, I think, is it? Yep. So we'll go for Bane of Progress. And again, doesn't actually matter if they destroy the Bane of Progress itself. We just play it as a means of wrathing the board of artifacts and enchantments. And it just so happens that it gets a +1/+1 counter for each permanent destroyed that way. So it'll enter as a 4/4 as the board stands right now. I don't know if we're going to see a Saskia this turn. It of course depends on what our opponent has in hand. But luckily they've slowed down a little bit. They got quite a fast hand and emptied most of their hand quite quickly, and now they've slowed down, which is good for us because we had a much slower hand than they did. Okay, Bloodbraid Elf. Bloodbraid Elf into Scrap Heap Scrounger, which is a 3/2 that can't block. You can exile another creature from your graveyard to return it from your graveyard to the battlefield. Wow. That's quite a nice sack outlet, actually. Yeah, we can block with the Fierce Empath, I think. I don't actually care about that, to be honest. It's done its duty. Save ourselves a little bit of life now. And now we just get straight into our Bane of Progress, which will block the Bloodbraid Elf quite nicely. Gets rid of the Umezawa's Jitte. They might kill the Bane of Progress in response. They should. They can minus the Bane of Progress down a couple with the Jitte at instant speed. And that's exactly what they're going to do. And then they'll probably just gain a couple of life twice. And the effect, of course, is still on the stack, so we get rid of the Scrounger, the Jitte, and the Skull Clamp, which are superb artifacts to get rid of. We can just yield to the end of the turn and then try and do something. If they get down the commander now, then Bloodbraid Elf is going to hit us hard. Might be worth getting down a Maze of Ith and maybe a Caged Sun next turn. See what we draw into, but I'm swaying towards the Maze of Ith. And I'm assuming we're going to see. Yeah. Oh, and that has haste. I forgot about that. Yeah. So I can swing in right now. We're going to get dealt a hell of a lot of damage here. So we're dealt 6-7 damage, and then that's doubled up to even more. Oh, risky to get down the Mana Crypt. If we tap down for 4 mana to get the Caged Sun out, and then we get a land, that is 2, 4, 6. So we can get down both our commander and a Caged Sun. Oh, actually, can we? Not if we want to play Maze of Ith, we can't. Alright, well, we'll get down our commander anyway. They might have some means of... Yeah, I think we have to do it. They might have some means of killing the Nissa so it can't block. But at this point, with nothing in the hand, there's not a whole lot we can do. We will search for that forest. And with a grip full of lands, just have to hope that we can block the Bloodbraid Elf with Nissa. I'm not hopeful. They have 3 cards in hand, and it's probably mostly removal in this deck because they want to get their creatures through and deal that double damage. But if we can just survive this turn, which looks like we can, because they're not going for any removal on us, we can block there and then hope that Saskia doesn't get buffed. Might be some burn though for us to contend with. Oof. Some evasive creatures as well. Alright. See if we get bolted here. We do not. That's great. So I think what we have to do then is Genesis Wave for as much as we can. I don't think holding up a Maze of Ith does. Actually, with that flyer, I'm not too happy about this flyer. We might not get into some reaches. So I'm going to get down the Maze of Ith and then Genesis Wave for as much as we can. I haven't actually worked out how much this is. Okay, we're going to go for 13. Oh, Ugin. Alright, yeah. I mean, even if we have to wipe the entire board. Ugin and Karn as well. And Nissa Vital Force. Wow. Alright, yeah. Well, that's about as good as it gets, I think. Rex Sage won't do anything for us, but Prime time. Reliquary Tower's nice. Karn. I mean, I think that's all 3 Planeswalkers in the deck, to be honest. Pretty lucky Genesis Wave. Unfortunately, we don't have Glacial Chasm in the deck, but... Oh, Rexage actually does get rid of the Mana Crypt, so yeah, I actually quite like that. Oh, and our opponent scoops, that is... Yeah, that's an early scoop, but I think we could have got back into it from there. Karn Liberated would have gotten rid of Saskia, and then I would have bolted with Ugin to the Sky Terror, and then untapped a land with Nissa, and gone for her Limit Break next turn. Yeah, I think we managed to get that back under our control there. Clearly our opponent doesn't run into any burn, otherwise they would have, I assume, carried on playing in the hope that they draw into some burn. Yeah, 1 card in hand. We have means of card draw. We can get our commander back out and flip her back over, plus we have the Soul of the Harvest. Yeah, you might look at that and think that's an early scoop, but I think we had that back under control there because of those 3 Planeswalkers. Hope you enjoyed that. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.